Sam, can you hear me? On your left.
Thanks for the ride, Uncle
Now,
Ben.
wait a minute, Peter. We need to talk anymore. You shirk your chores. You have all those weird experiments in your room. You start fights at school.
I didn't start that fight. I told you that.
Well, you sure as hell finished.
What was I supposed to do? Run away?
No, you're not supposed to run away, but... Pete, look, you're changing. I know. I went through exactly the same thing at your age.
No, not exactly.
Peter, these are the years when a man changes into the man he's going to become the rest of his life. Just be careful who you change into. This guy Flash Thompson, he probably deserved what happened. But just because you can be doesn't give you the right to. Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Is that him? Peter! Peter!
Peter!
Peter!
Assemble. I am inevitable. And I am Iron Man.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Marvelous Discussions. So, today we got not one, but two reviews today, because we got to get ready for Deadpool and Wolverine when it comes out. So, we have a whole Wolverine trilogy to get through. We got through the main X-Men trilogy, we got through the previous two Deadpool movies, and now we got to start the Wolverine trilogy. And who do we have in the chat? We got Linda in the chat, and we got Zodwriter in the chat. What up? So, let's get started. I'm going to bring on my co-host. I'm bringing him on right now. I'm bringing on my co-host, Socks Bulletins. How are you, Socks? You excited?
I make one statement about that I can't stand musicals, and my co-host never lets me hear the end of it.
Hey, I make one statement about not liking out of seasonal Christmas decorations, and I get a lot of taunting for that. Not just from you, but our other friend, Super Brawl Corey. So, but that's part of the love of our community, though. So, anyway, other than that, how are you feeling today?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm all right, man. Am I coming through okay? Can anyone hear me just fine?
No, Socks. To answer your question, we cannot hear you.
Damn my luck, all the hell.
I remember, like, when I was in middle school, I remember, the announcements. They were saying, if you cannot hear us, please contact us. And I'm thinking, even my teacher pointed out, wait, how do we know to contact you if we can't hear you?
Mm.
Yeah, no, I don't like out of season Halloween stuff either. It's like no. Although Chicago, they keep having all these like seasonal haunted houses. Like there was like a Christmas themed haunted house, a Valentine's themed haunted house. Now there's like a summer themed haunted house. They're like basically trying to like add seasonal themes to the haunted houses so they don't feel out of season. So I gotta go to one of those. But anyway, back enough of that little rant today. So you ready to get started?
Yeah, yeah, let's do this.
Wow, you don't sound excited at all to talk about this movie, but before we
Oh,
do that,
God.
Deadpool and Wolverine final trailer. What are your thoughts?
I enjoyed it. I got to see a couple new cameos in there. We got to see Laura, which is X-23, which is the clone of Wolverine. Some people refer to her as the daughter of Wolverine. You could say that, but it's more like the clone of Wolverine. If you read
Oh,
comics,
really?
yeah. But she's
Well, in the
it's the
comics,
same girl. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What?
well, in the comics, sure, but not necessarily the movie. But yeah, I know it's the same
Right.
actress from Logan.
Yeah, and then they show Hunter B-15 from the Loki show today, the new
Oh,
TV spot.
oh yes, yeah, I know. I was so excited. It's like right before this thumbnail comes up, it's like, okay, we'll just talk about the little teaser too. But to me, the only thing that's significant about that was B-15, which I'm glad. I'm glad they're actually, if they're having a
That's
TVA, you
it.
got to have someone from the Loki series. So, but other
Well,
than
that's the
that,
connection between.
we've seen Deadpool in the MCU, right? Because the previous two Deadpool movies didn't take place in the MCU, so you got to find some natural way to connect Deadpool 3 to the MCU.
Exactly.
So yeah, I was really excited about that. Love the great actress. Loved her in Batman v Superman, especially the Ultimate Edition. But in terms of this trailer, though,
She
the
was
main
in that?
trailer. Yeah, B-15 was the lady that Lex paid to lie about Superman attacking her village.
Oh, okay. Now, wow, it's been a while since I watched that movie. All right. All right. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. So great actress. Even the smallest role Zack Snyder makes cool. But anyways, with this Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, so yeah, it was cool to see Laura again. I'm wondering, is she the same Laura from Logan, or is she a variant?
That I don't know. I really don't know. I hope it's the same girl, but I really don't know.
Because we know Logan's a variant.
That whole damn movie, Logan, was a variant.
Well, no, I mean, I would say the variant is the one who was not wearing the comic accurate costume, and X-Men the Animated Series, unfortunately, did not wear the comic accurate black leather. So
Yeah. Good point.
yeah, guys, for those of you who don't know, I troll Socks a lot. Socks hates the black leather that Wolverine wore, and I know he's excited that Wolverine's wearing the comic accurate yellow spandex.
Well, yeah, because it makes perfect sense, man. Imagine having Batman without a cape and cowl. He just had the fucking bat symbol on his chest, and that was it for the whole movie. Wouldn't that drive you crazy?
Yeah, yeah, I get that. So wait, what's Spider-Man thing? Did I miss something in the trailer? I didn't recall a Spider-Man reference in the trailer.
The part, yeah. In
What
the
the?
new one where we see B-15, where you see Deadpool and Wolverine in the car, and Deadpool keeps going.
Oh,
That
right.
he's making the sound effects of Spider-Man shooting at Wolverine.
Oh, I thought he was blasting guns. I thought it was okay. That makes more sense. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was definitely cool though. That was. I just love how Deadpool, like how annoyed Wolverine is with Deadpool. He's like, "Good God, why am I working with this guy?"
Uh,
But in the trailer, though, I again, I love how serious Deadpool is. It's so contrast when he's like, when he's talking to Wolverine, saying these 9 people are the ones I care about. You can just feel the pain and emotion in his voice. Like my world is about to die.
it's going to show you that they're going to have to add. Well, they did add some serious moments into this film. You know, as goofy as Deadpool is, he knows he has to try to do something that's going to help save his world.
Oh, and speaking of Deadpool, look who decided to join us today. How are you doing today, Deadpool?
I need a hero to save my world. And there's only one that I can think of. What's going on, Sock?
Deadpool himself, ladies and gentlemen.
How are y'all?
Hey man, how are you doing, dude?
Feeling excited.
Ready to talk some Deadpool and Wolverine trailer and the final
Oh yeah.
and our redo of X-Men Origins Wolverine review. Gotta get that title wrong all the time. So, but yeah. So I guess any thoughts, Deadpool, today on this trailer and the little teaser that came out with B-15, a.k.a. the woman that Lex Luthor paid to lie about her family.
Gotta love these multiverses. Gotta love them. Gotta love them. I'm excited to for you guys to see my world. You know, I can't spoil anything, but it's going to be my world and so many others. So go see it in theaters. July 20th.
Nice.
Cannot wait. Cannot. And it was Lady Deadpool. We saw the face reveal, although it's just a mask with the little blonde ponytail. Don't necessarily know if that's Ryan Reynolds, though. Can't confirm that. So, and trying to think what else was really significant in that trailer. Again, we saw Laura return. So, I guess any final thoughts on this trailer, either of you two, before we move on to our review of X-Men Origins Wolverine?
No, we can move
Shout
on.
out, shout out to from Jedi to X-23.
Well, one thing I do want to say real quick, though, that bald lady who's the antagonist, I keep thinking she's the original Sorcerer Supreme from Doctor Strange. But I know on a closer look she's not. But I swear, I just keep thinking it's her for some reason. Maybe
No,
she's.
that's Princess Diana.
That's who?
Princess Diana, if you know.
That's not Wonder Woman.
Netflix joke.
Okay. Okay. Well, anyway, on that note, let's move on. So, we already kind of talked about Wolverine in our little prelude to this review. Anything you want to kind of recap for this video?
I'll hand it over to Fox.
Does that include the rant that I have about the beginning part of that
Go ahead.
movie? You want me to do that?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, let's look at this so-called Team Edge, right? Which is Wolverine, Deadpool, Blob, Striker, and a few others. They are literally gonna walk into this fucking military compound to get on an elevator to go upstairs to get a piece of adamantium, right? You got a whole freaking hit squad walking towards the gate together, with our guards on the other side of the gate, keeping the perimeter in order. And this whole hit squad is walking towards the gate together. They don't fan out. They don't spread out, come in from different directions. They go together in one shot while the light is shining on them as they're walking towards the gate. And I'm thinking to myself, this is not how you do a hit squad. You don't have them all walking up together like they gonna, try to sell you tickets so a concert or some shit, man. What are you doing? You're literally gonna get yourselves picked off one by one doing this. Then they all climb in the same elevator to go up the elevator. The bad guy knows they're coming up there. And I'm like, you are all going in the same elevator to go to the top floor. None of you take the stairs. None of you go up to the teleport to the roof to come down that way. You're all gonna, oh my God, what the fuck? I'm sitting there like, this don't make any sense to me. This is not how you do this shit. And then, and of course, the only good part of this whole elevator scene is hearing Deadpool run his mouth, which is funny. I got to give him credit for that, because that was a bit hilarious. The elevator opens up. They all move to the side of the elevator. How big is this elevator? We got all these grown 200 plus men and all together, 200 plus size men all together against the wall, when one guy with two swords comes out of the elevator and he starts cutting bullets in half. I'm sorry, Deadpool is fast with his swordplay. He ain't that fast. He ain't Quicksilver. He certainly ain't the Flash with his sword fighting style, because he cannot cut bullets like that in half.
Oh, and we'll definitely have
And
our
then he killed every
Deadpool
single one.
topic.
Right, and then on top of that, they all come in, get the chunk of adamantium, and leave out. And I'm still thinking to myself, this is not how you send in a hit squad. This doesn't make any fucking sense to me. You don't do this. You spread out this hit squad. They come in from all sides and even above if possible. You don't have them walk up to the fence when the light is on them. And they're like, oh my God, what are you doing to me? In rant.
I love you, Socks. I love you, man. But yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. It's like, no, you sneak in, you take them out. You don't leave yourselves open and exposed to everyone. So yeah, I get that. I do get the issue with that. And Wolverine in general, just kind of my recap from the last movie or the last video we did on this is the way he lost his memory was stupid and actually kind of contradicts Logan now, but that we'll talk about that when we do our Logan review. But again, no way for Stryker to know that's how it would work. I feel like if healing means healing, it does not mean half healing. So, but I did like Wolverine's personality. I think he was the one who was against killing innocent people, and he himself was a badass in this movie. Just the situations around him, not so badass. Deadpool, what are your thoughts on your arch enemy in this movie?
You mean my pseudo makeover, King?
Wolverine, Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman is the reason I got my first movie, so shout out to him. But love the guy. Love Hugh.
How do you feel about how Wolverine was portrayed in this movie?
Like I said in the part one, I didn't have any problems with how he was portrayed. I think Hugh Jackman was born to play this role.
I agree, absolutely. There again some stupid stuff he did, like could at least let Gambit take him home for the ride and then leave him afterwards. But that's just my opinion with that. But yeah, overall, Wolverine himself was great. Just some of the situations around him were not. Like this guy, Deadpool? Question mark for a reason. And we'll start with you, Deadpool, on this one. How'd you feel about your portrayal in this movie?
You know, for those who don't know, I'm sorry, Ryan Reynolds was working with New Line Cinema back in 2003 on a Deadpool solo movie, and that never panned out. So I got a role. Ryan Reynolds got a role in Blade Trinity instead, and one of the caveats of citing that my solo project was maybe we can potentially have you show up in another role. Unfortunately, studios, they like to get their little fingers involved, and they're like, "No, we're gonna do this because you're not cool enough the way you are. Everything that makes you special, yeah, we're gonna change that, make you cooler. What the kids want, they want Mortal Kombat, they want Baraka Pool. Are you freaking kidding me?" That was not me, by the way. There were some close-up shots of Ryan Reynolds, but there's a stunt actor by the name of Scott Adkins who played Baraka Pool. I don't know how he got Cyclops' powers. I don't know how he got Kestrel's powers. There's some like Mr. Sinister stuff going on with all that. Tragedy. But I thought I did good in that first part.
Oh yeah, Ryan Reynolds, Wade Wilson before he becomes that fake Deadpool. I loved him there. Total badass, took out people, even though that shouldn't have worked. He's not that fast, but in general, yeah. Loved him, and it was so funny seeing Ryan Reynolds kind of be portrayed in more of a serious movie. Because he's always more of a comedic actor, and here it's just here it's like he's like the comedic guy with all the serious people around him. Which I thought that was such an interesting dynamic. And there was some foreshadowing to that mouth closing scene because he said, Stryker's like, hey, if you didn't talk, you'd be the perfect soldier. So that's exactly what he did. But that's not what Wade Wilson is. Like, Deadpool is not this being that has all the mutants' powers. He just has a healing factor. He's strong. He has a healing factor. He's a good fighter. That's it. He doesn't have all the other mutants' powers. And he's not even like an actual human being. He's just a mind-controlled robot in this movie. That's all he is that he was just being mind-controlled by Stryker. He's not... That's all they made Deadpool, just a mind-controlled zombie, which sucks. I know you have a rant in this.
That was not Deadpool at the end of this film. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not the world's biggest Deadpool fan. I don't hate the character, but I'm not. But he's not in my top 5 or even my top 10. But what they did to Deadpool in that movie was an abomination. No pun intended towards the abomination in the Hulk movies, but that was an abomination because you do not cover up Deadpool's mouth. Okay, Deadpool has a mouth. He is the mercenary with the mouth. He speaks what he thinks. He makes you uncomfortable when he does it. And without that, there is no Deadpool. It's just some random dude with mutant powers put onto him to be a robot to kill Wolverine and Sabretooth. First of all, how do you transfer a mutant ability from another character into another character? You cannot do that. That doesn't make any sense. Nope. It does not work that way. Unless your name is, say, unless you're a mimic or you get or absorb somebody's mutant ability, fine, I can understand that. But that's not what Deadpool can do. This is bullshit. I'm sorry. First of all, Deadpool with a covered mouth doesn't make any sense to me. As much as sometimes I'm annoyed by Deadpool, I need to hear that full talk.
Oh, yeah. But stop. Wait. Did you get the part where the studio executives were like, oh, we got a great idea. Whenever Cyclops' powers manifest, we're going to make the eyes look like Deadpool's mask. The fans are going to love it. Did you love that, Socks?
Hated it. Hated it. Hated it. Hated it. Hated it.
You and I both.
Yeah,
Right.
I didn't
Because
even
that's not
notice that.
Deadpool. That is not. Oh God. Oh.
Hey, even Ryan Reynolds disowned that version of Deadpool in Deadpool 2 when he in the post-credit scene, he just killed that other Deadpool. He's like, and I love that. He's like, he's not even pretending that was a good movie. He's not even pretending. He's like, nope, nope, that was shit, and I'm gonna admit it.
Yep. Mic drop.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad Ryan Reynolds got redemption in these last two Deadpool movies.
I will say, if you pay attention in
Yeah.
the convoy scene, whenever X-Force, well, me and Domino try to rescue Russell, when I'm in the convoy fighting Cable, there is a shot lifted directly from X-Men Origins Wolverine where I turn around and slice the bullet that was lifted.
Oh yeah,
So yeah, it's a
yeah.
callback. It's a callback.
Except it didn't work in Deadpool 2. He was again another little shade throwing scene right there.
We know
Which
it
I, which
That
yeah,
was
you know,
funny. That was
which I
funny.
don't know if you saw
I
that was
think of that.
yeah, that was great. I agree, Socks. That was really funny, and I don't know if you saw this, if I saw our Deadpool 2 review, but I didn't even realize that Cable was Thanos. When he called him Thanos, I thought he was just being funny. I didn't realize there was an actual meaning to that.
He's actually Jonah
Josh
Hex.
Brolin has played. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead there, Deadpool. What were you saying?
No, he's actually Jonah Hex too in another multiverse.
Oh, really? Damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanos is Cable. Cable is Thanos. Yep. Oh, that guy really gets around. I'm surprised at that. He didn't make. He should have called him Jonah Hex at one point too, but yeah. Anyway, that Deadpool was good. This Deadpool sucked, and I'm glad Ryan Reynolds disowned him. I'm glad that you disowned that version of Deadpool because that was Deadpool by name only, and it shows that how an actor can be good or bad depending on the director. So
Yeah, Gavin Hood. Gavin Hood didn't even like comic book movies, so moving on. Sean
yeah,
Levy loves comic book movies, so
moving on. Victor Creed, and let's go. Eeny, meeny, miny. We'll start with you, Socks. Victor Creed. Okay, you there, Socks? I think I broke him.
I'm sorry. What were you
I think I
saying?
broke. Victor Creed, Socks. Your thoughts? I don't know how long I have before I get copyrighted claim. Do 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 do. Okay, while I wait for him, I guess Deadpool. What are your thoughts on Victor Creed in this movie?
he looks a little different, doesn't he? From first X-Men movie, just a little different. But I think for the better. I actually really enjoyed uh, Victor Creed in this movie. He was actually a character, and he spoke.
Well, it's so funny. I didn't even realize that was Sabretooth. I didn't realize that he and Sabretooth were the same person.
That is. Little behind the scenes. Liev Schneider, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He was actually auditioning for Stryker. And then at some point, Brian Cox, right, who was the villain in X2 and played the first Stryker, Brian Cox loved the role. And when he found out that we would be de-aging, spoiler alert, but Patrick Stewart, Professor X in this movie, that was around the time 2008 when the de-aging technology was starting to kind of become a thing. Brian Cox wanted to portray Stryker again, but be de-aged. So then Lev Schneider moved the role to Victor Creed because Hugh Jackman and him had done a movie together. And on set, he was always giving Hugh a hard time because they were so competitive. So that's why Hugh advised him, why don't you do Victor Creed instead? Because you're perfect for the role. And I thought he did a great job. What about you, Sax?
I actually like this interpretation of Victor Creed, Sabretooth. The only thing I didn't like is that when seeing Victor Creed run on all fours, Sabretooth does not need to run on all fours. He's not a dog, okay? And that kind of threw me off of it. I like the fact that he played the character as well as he did. But I gotta admit, I also like, what I'm seeing with Tyler Mane coming out for the new movie. I would love to take... Tyler Mane has the look, but the guy that played Victor Creed in this and X-Men Origins is more closer to Wolverine personality-wise. So if I could somehow get both of those two characters combined the way I want it, it'd be perfect. But
did you just say more closer?
Other than the run on all fours thing, what's wrong with that? More like more closer, whatever. Same thing.
That's grammatically incorrect. That's very grammatically incorrect. But I get what you're saying.
Well,
I get what you're saying.
Well, no, I better not say that. The show will get ready.
Well, yeah.
If I say the way I want to say, the show will get canceled altogether by cancel culture, and I don't want to say the way I want to say it.
I'm already worried about our last show, to be honest with you. So I'd say better to avoid anything else cancelable. But yeah, I mean, I like Victor Creed. I love his dynamic with Wolverine, with James. I guess they called him in this movie. How they were brothers who stuck together until as far as James was concerned, or until as Victor was concerned, James sold him out. And I love that. I thought that was a great and interesting dynamic in that. And I just love how he saves him in the end. He's like, no one kills you but me. And I thought that was really great to show that there is that he does care about his brother somewhere in there. The only thing I find kind of weird, though, with Wolverine having lost his memory, Victor Creed never ran into him. Not once before he became Sabretooth. Did he get, captured right away? And, that's what doesn't really make sense of the whole Wolverine losing his memory thing, is that, and him never finding out, it's like, that only works if all the people who knew him in the previous life died. But Victor Creed is still out there. Didn't get captured right away, not that we saw. So that's the only thing that didn't quite make sense to me with Victor Creed. But yeah, I can nitpick that stuff sometime. But overall, yeah, I love their dynamic. I loved when they were kids and how James killed their abusive father. From my understanding, that's what happened. And then at first, it seemed like Victor was going to disown him. He's like, "No, we're brothers. We stick together." And I love that. But what I love is that you feel the betrayal a lot more when they do turn on each other. Oh, and look who's here. We got Sin Havoc in the chat. How are you, man? So you already missed our talk about Deadpool, the Deadpool and Wolverine final trailer, as well as that little promo that came out today, too. But I know that you love dropping bombs, so I just wanted to update you on that. But anyways, anything else you want to say about Victor Creed before we move on?
Love those sideburns.
So I just think of from SpongeBob, that one episode where they had sideburns and they just briefly say sideburns. So
There will be a 25th anniversary of SpongeBob panel at Comic-Con. I'll be sure to let you know how that is, Bad Dan.
oh, thank you. Yeah, I definitely want to see that. I mean, it was a great 4-season
Nice.
show. And then they continued episodes after that. But anyway, I'm an adult now, so maybe I shouldn't be talking about a kid's show so much on this channel, but SpongeBob was my childhood. What can I say? As a kid, I loved SpongeBob, so moving on. I actually had a roommate in college who could do that laugh perfectly. It was scary. But he perfectly you would honestly think it was Tom Kenny.
No.
So anyway, Kayla Silverfox. We'll start with you this time, Deadpool. What did you think of this character?
Once again, I am just a conduit in this production, but at the time, we weren't in the landscape that we live in now, but the casting of a Native American character who has Native American roots and very predominantly in the story of this movie, right? Probably should be portrayed by a Native American individual, right? I love Texas, but the actress who plays Kayla Silverfox is from Texas. And I don't know for sure, but there was a controversy around this casting about this individual not being Native American and the whitewashing, which Fox was very guilty of with a lot of X-Men roles. So that aside, first and foremost, she was fine. Not at all what is comic accurate as far as the look, or the story or the powers even. So Silver Fox in name only, in my opinion. What about you, Sox? I mean, if you've watched Batman, I'm sure you haven't got to it, but you'll see you'll see Silver Fox show up in that X-Men 92 series, and not at all similar like he is in this movie at all.
Okay, good to know. I mean, I don't have the comic book roots to really say oh, this was bad, but just setting up her story though, just really interesting. As I love her connection with Hugh Jackman, with James, with Wolverine, whatever. And it was a clever foreshadowing how they made it seem like a joke. How it's oh, I can touch people and make them do what I say. They kind of play it off as a joke, and it's no, that's actually what you can do. And I thought that was very clever. I don't know. I had mixed feelings about the betrayal though they did with this movie. It's they killed her off, and I felt that was a perfect motivation. And it's they brought her back, made her a traitor, but then they tried to make her good again. It felt too rushed to me. It's oh, I'm sorry I betrayed you. Oh, I'm going to help you out right now. It's Jesus, people, make a decision with this character and stick with it. Make her a traitor, and that's fine. But you didn't build this up enough. You didn't reveal this long enough for her to turn good, in my opinion. I don't know. Sox, what are your thoughts on all this?
They ruined this character all the way through. This character is not Silverfox on any level whatsoever. First of all, like my second co-host Deadpool here says, she is Native American. That was not a Native American that played, Silverfox. Let me explain something about Silverfox that most people don't know. And I'm going to be very careful how I say this because something very bad happens to her in the comments. Sabretooth killed this girl on Wolverine's birthday. But before he did a very horrible thing to this woman before he killed her. Now, they don't mention it too much. It's heavily implied what he did, but we get the idea that Sabretooth in the comics violated Silverfox in a very bad way before he killed her.
Damn.
So I'm not using the word
Yeah.
because I won't say the word, but you get the idea. If you're smart enough, you understand what I'm saying. Then he killed her. There's a lot of bad blood between these two characters. That's all I'm gonna say about it. I'm glad he didn't do that in the movie. I'm glad he did not do that in the movie. But yeah, it was bad.
Yeah. Wow. Damn. That's not. Because I don't have a lot of patience for that kind of shit. If Sabretooth in the comics, I hope that he gets a slow and painful death after that, because that's not. And personally, I hope he got his little special part cut off.
Well, recently in the Wolverine comics, Wolverine just killed him. But it's comics, so Sabretooth will probably be back at some point.
Yeah.
And by the way, Silver Fox does not have a sister named Emma. Right, Sox?
He's right. He's right.
If you don't know Bat Dan, I remember watching television and all this cameo porn being advertised in the trailers and TV spots. And when you see Emma do her little shifting and diamond skin, and it said Emma Frost on the screen. But then you look at the credits and it only says Kayla's sister, Emma. And then whenever First Class came out, there was another Emma Frost. And it was not addressed until Bryan Singer did Days of Future Past, when he said, "Oh, that wasn't Emma Frost. That was just a character that had the same powers." So I love how each director kind of did their own thing and ignored that Kayla sister.
Continuity in a shared universe? What's that? Like, I know directors want to do their own things, but when you're part of a shared universe, you have to abide by continuity a little bit. You can't just. But that's just my thoughts on that. But also, here's the thing that kind of bothered me with this whole Kayla sister thing. She just gets on a plane, a helicopter, and doesn't think about her sister. I'm like, yes, her sister died, but we don't know that but she doesn't see that she died. We, the viewers, saw that she died, but she just, as far as she was concerned, she just left her sister. Like directors need to realize, just because the audience sees it doesn't mean that it happened. And also, I didn't like that Kayla. Why didn't Kayla kill Stryker? I mean, I know it's a prequel and Stryker couldn't die, but I'm talking about, it still has to make sense in universe. Why didn't she kill Stryker? What was the point of doing what she did? I mean, they didn't give her a real reason not to kill him when she had the chance. Like, especially, it always bothers me when heroes kill all these henchmen, all these other people, but the instant it's the main antagonist, all of a sudden they have a no-kill rule. It's like, what? You're gonna kill all these people who are not as bad, but when it comes to killing the real evil person, all of a sudden it's like, it's like, oh, I don't want to stoop to your level. I'm like, you already did stoop to their level.
We can't kill him because there's X2 that happened later on. So we have to have convenience that he's still alive. And if you didn't know, Dan, this movie had 3 different post-credit scenes when it was in theaters. You never knew which one you were going to get. One of them, post-credits, was the military finding Stryker walking and his feet were bleeding, of course.
Oh, so, yeah, I saw that one. I think Disney Plus shows 2 of them. I know there's... The one I didn't see was the one where Logan's drinking to forget.
Yes.
I saw that on YouTube. It wasn't on Disney Plus. Because I remember, I was when I saw that, I was searching Disney Plus again, being like, wait, where's that scene? Where is that scene? But that's interesting. So the theatrical version had 3 different versions at the time.
Mm-hmm. You never knew which one you were going to get. And yeah, you saw my.
Oh, yep. Saw that one too. That was the two I saw. I saw Deadpool being alive and Stryker walking on his feet. I guess. So, Socks, you back with us?
My theory
Yeah,
is
I'm
that
here. I'm here.
the reason they didn't include the Wolverine one is because the bartender is the same bartender from the first X-Men movie whenever you see his claws for the first time. So if they were to include that, it would basically show, oh yeah, X-Men Origins Wolverine is canon to the X-Men movies. And I think Disney was like, no, because of Days of Future Past, this never happened.
No, until the time travel happens, it's canon. What are they? No, this came out before Days of Future Past, so it's absolutely canon to the old timeline. Besides, Disney already established that you can't change the timeline because of Endgame, and it's all one multiverse now, so they can't be like, well, it's a different universe. No, well, this is they made it seem like this is the entire multiverse. When you change time, you create a new timeline, so that other timeline still exists.
Well,
Like,
you know, there were flashbacks to X-Men Origins Wolverine in my new trailer. So, you know, we are kind of acknowledging it.
yeah, well, you're a little late for that one, Sin Havoc. Much love, though, Sin Havoc. Much love. I always love when Sin Havoc's in the chat. So now we're going to go on to Stryker, and we'll start with you this time, Socks. What's your thoughts on Stryker in this movie?
That is not William Stryker. That is not William Stryker. William Stryker is a religious zealot from God Loves, Man Kills. William Stryker did not create the adamantium process, and he did not create the Weapon Edge program. Bryan Singer, the hack that he is, went in an interview for X-Men 2 and said, I did not need to steal a character from a comic. I created that character on my own. Bryan Singer, you can go F yourself for that one, buddy. Chris Claremont created William Stryker. The very fact that they stuck William Stryker into this and had him create the adamantium bonding process and Weapon Edge is an insult to who actually created the adamantium bonding process and the Weapon Edge Plus program. It was not William Stryker. This is a joke. I can't stand this idea.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. You don't take credit for other people's work. You don't give the wrong credit. Yeah, I know Bryan Singer does not sound like a great person. I know he's, I think, one of those people in director jail right now, in Hollywood jail right now, they call it. So we talked about a little bit about that in our first review, even. So yeah, Bryan Singer, total dick. And I think Stryker falls in what I call the prequel problem. Is that it's very hard to do a prequel. I think Better Call Saul is probably one of the best prequels out there, where you feel all the tension despite it being a prequel. But prequels are hard to pull off because when you introduce certain characters, things have to awkwardly turn out a certain way. And with Stryker, it felt that same way. It's that same thing where it's like they couldn't kill him off because he's in the future movie, so they had to find some stupid reason for him to live. But Stryker just kind of changed his motivations the whole time. This whole thing, it's like, oh, first you gotta track down Victor Creed because he's killing all our guys. Oh wait, no, he's actually working for me now, and we needed to test out. Like, okay, first of all, why would you test something out on your enemy? Why would you do that? He's like, oh, we're gonna take away his memory, and it's like they didn't know the guy had super hearing. I mean, Jesus Christ, people, like, if you can't be this stupid. Just Stryker's an idiot. He's a dumbass. He's a total dumbass in this movie. And then it's just, I don't know. Deadpool, Joshpool, what are your thoughts on this?
I will say I do love Danny Houston, related to the iconic Angelica Houston. However, once again, agree with both of you. You know, this isn't really comic accurate Stryker. This is more trying to be baby version of X2 Striker. The whole, like I said, the whole Mr. Sinister wannabe plot where he's combining mutant genes and creating Weapon 11. I had nothing to do with that. This was in developmental hell, and they needed just some scientist, and Stryker was it. But I did like the acting from Danny Houston. But yeah, gotta say, not comic accurate at all.
Well, again, I don't know about the comic accuracy, so I'll take your guys' word for that. But in terms of how it fit in the movie, yep, just a lot of weird stuff. Just a lot of stuff that didn't make sense. And again, prequel. So I always say, again, prequels are hard to pull off. You got to be very careful with how you do it. And they were not. So it really, like, Stryker was the biggest effect of the prequel, I feel like, in my opinion, because, the other stuff that we see were kind of cool for the prequel, but Stryker, he really just kind of, a lot of stuff just didn't make sense. And again, we knew he was going to live, so any other thoughts before we move on? Okay.
No.
So let's go on to Gambit. I did like Gambit in this movie. I thought he was cool in this movie. I loved him with, maybe let Wolverine talk a little bit first, but I also can understand. Love it. I mean, the way he was fighting Wolverine, it's like, maybe let him finish the sentence, but at the same time, if you've been tortured for a long time, I get it. I do kind of understand, but I'm glad he eventually came to his senses and helped Wolverine. But he was cool in this movie. I liked him, and I loved the way that he was dedicated to the mission. He was dedicated to helping Wolverine save all those mutants, all those kids. Gambit was a good guy in this movie, and I really liked him. And I guess Joshpool with the cards. What are your thoughts on Gambit in this movie?
I honestly, when I first saw this movie, I was very disappointed in the portrayal. But rewatching it, thanks to you guys for doing this review, I've kind of softened a little bit. I guess the initial time I saw it, I wanted X-Men 92 version, He's got to have the eyes. He's got to have got to have the look and everything. This guy was a little bit too suave for me, a little bit too pretty. Like my Gambit to be a rough and tough Cajun, squaggly guy. So, but the more that I watched it, I was like, he's fine. He's fine. And at some point back in 2014 at Comic-Con, Channing Tatum was announced to have a X-Men Origins Gambit movie. But that never happened. And the more I rewatched this, I was like, they have very similar features. So for me, rewatching it, I was kind of like, okay, I could see the reason why they would be like, okay, this is going to be the younger version. That's going to be the older version. But I will say by putting Taylor in this movie, what pissed me off, the fan that I am, even though they bastardized Rogue in the X-Men franchise, they've completely ruined that relationship between Gambit and Rogue. I was watching Origins over my mother. My mother loves, Josh's mother loves Rogue. And I was explaining to her how creepy it would be. I was like, okay, so if Rogue is like 17 years old in X-Men 1, and Gambit is maybe like 25 in this movie.
They could have just did a Frozen thing, like just Captain America him, just freeze him for just the right amount of time so that he's the same age as Rogue so that Rogue is his age, and then unfreeze him, and then boom, there you go. That takes care of the age. But
Black convenience.
Again, that's the thing. I can't really. This movie has to follow continuity. And one thing I try not to do when I rate a movie is I try not to make a movie pay for the sins of the previous movie too much. So I don't really give Gambit a hard time for that, because I do agree with you. They did mess that up, but that's X-Men's that's X-Men's fault. That's the first movie's fault. This movie just has to follow that continuity for better or for worse. So, but I feel like he mostly looked and acted like the guy from X-Men 92. So I didn't really, at least to me, he did. So I didn't really have too many issues with that. I guess sucks. What about you? What's your thoughts on Gambit in this movie?
First and foremost, if you try to figure out any type of continuity in the X-Men universe and from the Fox universe, you will go cross-eyed and blood will shoot out your nose. You'll develop an aneurysm in your brain. You will fucking pass out and die. The continuity in the X-Men films and the Fox messed up. You can't figure it out. Trust me, I tried, and I literally gave myself a migraine one day because I was trying to figure that shit out myself. And I was like, nope, can't do this. Nope. My life is too valuable to try to figure this garbage out. I can't do this. And I tried. For a couple hours, I gave it a try. I was like, nope, I'm getting lightheaded. I'm going to pass out. I'm not doing it. But that being said, the guy that played Gambit in this film ain't that bad, man. He might have been the only real highlight in this whole movie, if you think about it. I mean, because he captured the character somewhat better than expected. You know, I mean, they changed a few things around because of the red eyes. He don't have that, and that's fine. I can let that go. But but Gambit is a scoundrel. He is a scoundrel. He is basically the Han Solo of the X-Men universe. He's a thief. He's a playboy. He's he's the type of guy that, he's gonna put an ace card up his sleeve to cheat at the game poker. Unless he's throwing the card at you if he's gonna get away from a situation. But Gambit is a scoundrel. And that's what I expect of Gambit. That's just how he's always been. That's how he's portrayed.
And he was portrayed very well in this movie. I felt like he was portrayed like that. And yeah, I don't have really any complaints for Gambit in this movie. And anyways, I guess then I see that Joshpool is going to get going soon. So I guess just real quick, this is only for Joshpool. This is not for you or me, Stocks, or anyone in the chat. What would you rate this movie as?
This movie, it is what it is, right? It gave me a job, gave me a paycheck, got me to get to be Green Lantern so I could meet my lovely wife, Blake Lively. But yeah, as far as representation of my character and the Logan character, not the best for me. Great for Hugh Jackman, but I got my time. So I don't like to be too hard because it is, Hugh's movie. But from my perspective, I give it a 6.
And that's a fair score. I think that's a totally fair score. And everyone else, we're gonna wait till the end of the review. We're gonna just want to get Joshpool's his rating out there. So yeah. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope to see you in the next one.
Thanks for having me. Go see my movie. I gotta go in the multiverse. I'll see y'all later.
Nice.
See you later, Sock.
See you later. I always love it when he stops by, but actually we're pretty close to. We're actually almost done with this with this review. So. Charles Xavier and Cyclops. Your thoughts of these cameos? Or I guess it was Cyclops. It wasn't really a cameo, but I just kind of grouped them together because I don't know, nothing too significant with either of them. But anyway, your thoughts.
Okay. This is part of the continuity problem right here. Well, all the X-Men films are bad CGI, able to walk, and you're looking at him like, huh? How was that? And he's just standing there before he takes the mutants with him onto to the Blackbird to fly away. I'm like, explain that. Well, of course, they don't explain it because it's a Fox X-Men movie, right? So I'm like, oh, God, you're making my head hurt. Please, can we get past these two characters? And as for Cyclops, he was in there for, what, 2 seconds?
No, he had an actual fight scene in like the hallway with Victor Creed, I think it was. But he was captured, and then he was one of the people. And then Xavier was in his mind telling him how to get out. But to me, this just kind of felt kind of forced. It felt like it was just kind of there to show that, that continuity. I know that's like a sin with the X-Men movies to say that word, but that's what they were trying to do, just kind of show that continuity. But just a lot of it didn't really make sense to me, though, because first of all, did Xavier, he's supposed to know stuff. Did Xavier really not sense Logan on the island? Did he really not do that? And no, not one of them said, hey, there's someone who saved us. Like, really? Oh, I guess they didn't really see, because I know. See, this is where I say prequel problem. They have to awkwardly make Cyclops not see Wolverine and Wolverine not see Cyclops, so they don't contradict the X-Men movies, the main trilogy.
It
Just a
doesn't
weird.
make any sense. It's a cluttered fuck of a mess, man. It don't make no sense.
No, doesn't make any sense at all, and it's just so much of it was just. It didn't need to be there. Point is, it didn't need to be there. When I saw Cyclops, I was like, "Oh no, this is just going to be so awkward." Because I know, again, he can't interact with Wolverine at all, and they just have to make it awkwardly fit. I mean, this isn't, these guys aren't George Lucas, where they can just go back and change the X-Men movie slightly so that they don't contradict the prequels like George Lucas did with the original trilogy. Hashtag justice for fives. But you get my point.
I get what you're saying, and you're right. This Charles and Xavier did not need to be in this. Neither did Cyclops. And I'm starting to. Oh my god! Every time I think about that pick of Charles again, why is Charles just standing there the whole? And how is he able to stand there the whole time? They didn't explain this. I thought, what? If X-Men First Class happens when when Xavier loses his ability to walk because of the whole Maria McTaggart and Magneto situation on that island, right? That's a prequel to the X-Men films, which is a prequel to the X-Men Origins Wolverine. He loses the power, the ability to walk in that movie. How the fuck is he standing in this movie?
Wait, did X-Men First Class take place before or after the timeline change?
At this point, who knows? Because they don't explain this crap.
Yeah, point is, they did not need to be in this movie. So, anything we missed? Is there any? I didn't really go with the other people in those X-Men mutants because I don't really think we see them enough. Like the teleporter, he dies quickly. It was fun. The fat guy, that was a little funny dynamic, but I don't know. Not really too much to say about those guys. I guess anything that we didn't talk about that you want to address?
No, can we get the hell out of this fucking movie review because it sucks. It's driving me fucking crazy.
Okay. Any final thoughts, and what'd you rate this movie as?
0.0.
Okay, I will give this movie 6.59234861 out of 10. Not a great movie, but I think there were some good aspects of it. Like, I like the way Wolverine was portrayed. I like Victor Creed. I like Gambit, but a lot of the other stuff kind of sucks. So, not a great movie. And yeah. So, could have been a lot better. And again, prequels you got to be careful of. And this one definitely fell in a lot of those prequel traps. So, coming up on this channel, 8 o'clock tonight, 8 a.m. 8 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time tonight, we will be reviewing The Wolverine, which, in my opinion, is way better than this one.
Yes.
So be on the lookout for that. And Joshpool may be coming back for that one too. So that's what's coming up on this channel. So any final words, Socks?
There's one thing I realized that was missing from X-Men Origins Wolverine. You know what that was?
What?
Baby balls. There's no baby balls in this movie. That would have saved this whole movie.
Oh,
Ta-ta for now.
Have a marvelous day.